Hey guys, it's ExandShadow, and welcome back to Let's Play Trauma Center New Blood. Almost said Paper Mario the Thousand-Year Door there. Anyway, last part we came to Los Angeles for the Concordia Medical Institute, and in this part, well, I assume that Rosseau's going to be a dick.
This is ridiculous.
Oh, hello there, unimportant blonde lady.
Excuse me, miss?
Yeah, I'm sure she won't have any impact on the plot at all.
Here to visit a family member? If so, then the entrance is...
No, that's not why I'm here. I have an appointment with Dr. Rosseau, the chief surgeon.
Huh.
But no one's been able
Odd.
to get my message.
Normally, he'd be all over having a modestly attractive blonde woman talk to him.
I'm sorry to
Huh.
inconvenience you.
Anyway, actually, to go on a brief tangent, it's kind of odd. It's kind of hard for me to tell what attractiveness in anime, just because it's just everybody looks good in anime. It's hard to tell who's supposed to be pretty and who's not.
very busy. I rarely see him myself.
Well, I guess it can't be helped. But I'd still like to meet him someday.
You know, you could just go to his room and knock on the door and say, "Hey, I'm Director of Caduceus." Oh, spoiler alert. She's Director of Caduceus. I'm sure he'd answer the door, you know what I mean? It's just like, he's probably got a little name tag on there that says, Professor Wilkins, Head of Concordia Medical Institute.
10 days, and he still hasn't told us about his condition.
Yeah. It's completely ridiculous, but I think Marcus is just used to his ridiculousness at this point.
Oh, by the way, this morning I met someone that was here to see Rosseau. I was surprised when she introduced herself. Take a guess who she was.
His mistress?
Huh? That was my first
Very
guess.
funny. Come on, be
Well,
serious.
it would have been my first guess if I was hearing this off,
if
I was hearing this offhand, but, whatever.
She oversees all of the medical research institutions located in the U.S.
Okay, now here I have to explain a little bit of a plot hole that Second Opinion in Under the Knife created. In Under the Knife, they said that the game takes place in the U.S., when that's not true. Under the Knife and Second Opinion take place in Japan. They said America, though. So really, in Under the Knife and Second Opinion, America is Japan, Europe is America, and yeah, that's about it. So in this game actually takes place in America. So the first time I played this, it's like, we're in the U.S. Caduceus branch, and I'm like, where is everyone that I know from Second Opinion? And then it's just like, oh, Second Opinion's Caduceus is actually Japan, so that's why nobody I know is around. So yeah, that's what's up with that. It's a little bit confusing, and it's actually something I hate. If it takes place in Japan, just say fucking Japan. Everything else that Atlas makes seems to take place in Japan, so just say Japan. Okay? Just do that. Anyway, this operation is just, you know, your simple first aid. You know, he got in a car accident, so you'll get these every now and again. So just, yeah, first aid. As always, I will choose Marcus, because Marcus kicks ass. And just generally, I prefer having the ability to slow down time, because I can react to the vitals. I can react to the vitals being lowered better, as opposed to just forgetting about them with Valerie's. Anyway, in addition to having simple first aid procedures going on about him, this guy also has a heart problem. So that fibrillation thing that I was talking about last part, yeah, we're gonna have to deal with that again here too. So much fun. So anyway, that big wound that we saw, this is actually something new, and they actually introduced it later in this game than they did in Second Opinion. Basically, what you need to do is you need to use the forceps and grab the edge of one of the sides of the wound, then drag it towards the center. Now, I sometimes have trouble getting those to work, so what you gotta do is you just gotta hold it and then pull. Don't let go of the forceps until it says cool. And then after it says cool, you can suture it up just like any normal wound. But suture it up right away, because if you wait too long, then it'll just open up again. You'll lose your combo, and I think you'll lose some vitals too. So generally, not a good idea. Anyway, we're actually doing the bone reconstruction here too, which is really one of the very few times we actually have to do this. It's not a very common procedure at all. Which actually I like, because it's not exactly the most exciting procedure in the game. But it's just, they actually managed to expand on this concept a lot more in Trauma Team, where you have an entire surgeon dedicated to orthopedics, which is bone surgery, if you're unfamiliar. But it's just, I liked the orthopedics idea. It's just that idea in general, actually. I just think that it would have been better if they used a lot of those gimmicks and ideas from the orthopedic section of Trauma Team and sort of put them into the actual surgery portion. I think that would have helped to keep things a little bit more focused. And oh god, I'm gonna die. Healing touch, go! Yeah, I'm not playing that sound clip every time we do the healing touch. I think that would get old pretty quickly. But anyway, yeah, see here. If I were to use Valerie's healing touch, it would just stop the vitals, so I could just forget about them for a little bit. But the thing is that even though it stops the vitals, you can't make them go back up, which is really, really bad because let's say you stop your patient at 1 vital. You know, you're just stalling for time. As soon as the healing touch ends, you're probably going to lose a vital right away, and then the patient will die. So, you know, I find Valerie's power has some use. It's just that I think that Marcus's gives you a lot more freedom to fuck around and experiment with. You know, I wish they gave Marcus his own healing touch ability instead of just giving him Derek's, but you know, I'll take what I can get at this point. So anyway, what did I get? I got all 4 bonus sections. Oh, an A. Why didn't I get an S, though?
I see that we're both quite skilled.
Huh, what's this? A one-time use art piece? Yeah, that's the only time she wears her. The only time she uses her surgical gown in the entire game. And that one with the mask on, that's the only time you ever see that. It's sort of odd for them to go out of their way to make a piece of artwork to only be used once, seeing as the presentation in this game is relatively low budget. But whatever. And anyway, here she implies that she saw another doctor with the healing touch, and I'm just like, dude! How many guys have this fucking ability? It's not special anymore.
I don't think it was good for her to have seen that.
Why not?
What do you mean?
I mean, seriously, why not? You could have gotten like a promotion and shit. That would have been awesome.
Thank you so much, Doctor. We were told you wouldn't make it.
That baby stares into my soul. I mean, seriously, that baby is fucking creepy.
It's a miracle he survived. He must have an angel looking over his shoulder.
I bet that angel's name is Elena, or Marcus, or Valerie. But it's probably something boring like Gabriel or something.
Future treatment options.
Oh, as long as he's in your hands, Dr. Rosseau.
Seriously, get that baby away from me. And I'm pretty sure that's not the right way to hold a baby, too. That seems relatively unsafe to take care of a living, breathing creature that can do nothing but cry and eat and poop.
So we'd better get going.
I suppose you're right.
Yeah, and that's another thing about Dr. Rosseau. He's the kind of jackass who will take credit for everything, even though he didn't have anything to do with it. I mean, yeah, I guess he sorta helped. He opened the patient for us. That's something. And I mean, even Wilkins knows about it, and he's gonna put up with this bullshit. Isn't that like corruption or some shit? I'm pretty sure you could go to jail for that.
Rather shrewd at times, and I would never trust him to operate on me.
Yes, I would only trust you to operate on me, but only several weeks later, and after I've told you nothing about the case at hand.
Want to come back.
I'm aware of that. Regardless, we'll meet tomorrow to discuss my operation.
Why not meet now? We're all here. And why is it 4 days from now? You should probably have been ready for this beforehand. I mean, it's not like you weren't... I mean, like, if you wanted Marcus to do it, you could have just prepared it all for when he comes back. I mean, it's not like he was in Alaska for 3 years. You've had plenty of time to prepare for this operation, so he could have done it like a day or two after he jumped down. Well, maybe not a day, but like at most a week.
So, you're finally going to tell us, huh, Professor?
I led you all to believe that I was suffering from a chronic heart disease.
Actually, you never brought that up before.
Operations are complete. I will reveal the true nature of my illness.
Dun, dun,
Is on the team
dun.
too?
Yeah, but he won't be operating.
Then why is he
What
here?
I'm asking you all to do is treat an unknown disease.
Yeah, it's unknown disease, but if you asked for our help before, we might have had a better plan for this, you know? Just saying.
Born as a result of gene-related medical research, I isolated it, analyzed it, and became deeply interested in it. despite my initial
And of course, I didn't have a team of assistants or anything to help me, because God knows that would be too fucking convenient.
Dr. Vaughn?
Never mind.
Looks like Marcus is hiding something. I wonder what that could be. Seriously, if you didn't figure it out by now, I don't think there's any saving you. I seriously figured out the plot point about Marcus and Wilkins' disease, like, within the first 2 times they talked about it. It's pretty easy to pick up, but for the uninitiated, I won't spoil it for you. You'll just have to live with being an idiot until you find out what really happened.
It's too late to ascertain now, but it must have occurred while I was researching it.
So, wait a minute. You've been doing all of this research on this disease you have, but you don't know what it is, you don't know how you got the disease, and you don't know how to treat it. You suck, Professor Wilkins.
It's not an airborne disease.
And what about your condition? You seem to be rather stable right now, Professor.
I do have some data which I collected during my experiments. It's dormant at the moment, but it becomes active when the carrier experiences stress.
So we want the disease to not go active, right? Well, let's just not let Professor Wilkins play Trauma Center then. Seriously, although I love this game, some of the later operations are, get hard enough that I actually feel relatively stressed. I actually like that, though. It makes me feel... I feel like I'm really engaged in the game when I'm stressed out about what's actually going on screen. Not to the point where I'm, like, frustrated or anything, but, you know, it helps. It engages me.
Indeed. This disease manifests itself in mysterious ways. I've tentatively named it Stigma.
Why?
We will refer to it by this name.
Seriously, why? What's the importance of the name Stigma? I mean, Guilt at least had some sort of bullshit acronym that actually doesn't make sense, but they just call it Stigma for no good reason. Why? Is that supposed to be symbolic of something? Or what? Huh? Oh, and that facepalm sprite, it looks kind of bullshit nowadays. I'd never liked that piece of artwork.
It's beyond your comprehension.
Should someone with your condition be up at this hour?
No, I only get sick when I experience stress. Thinking about that, I probably shouldn't be talking to you, Marcus.
For some reason the operation is a failure, then I want you to destroy all my research concerning Stigma.
Instead of, you know, keeping the research and trying to use it to prevent, to cure other people who might actually get this disease later on, you know, like a doctor should, you're just gonna keep all of your research to yourself, even in your grave. God damn it, Professor Wilkins, you're an idiot. I mean, to be fair, Marcus wanted to do that too, but that was before it actually started spreading, you know. Now that somebody actually got sick, I'm pretty sure he'd want to keep the research around to, you know, help people who might get sick later on. So anyway, actually, the music piece we're listening to right now is actually a remix of the Operation Briefing theme from Second Opinion. We've heard it once before, but this is the first time we've actually heard it during a briefing, so I figured it was best to mention it then. I love this track, by the way. It's one of my favorite sort of pre-action themes. I know that's a very limited selection of music pieces, but I do like it. I think it sets the tone perfect for this sort of thing. However, I do like how they only use it in certain situations in New Blood. In Second Opinion, it's like, we're doing an operation that probably will go completely fine and there should be no problems whatsoever. Dun 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 dun. It's just like, you don't need to go that epic, game, you know. I understand that there's pressure, but geez, you know? So anyway, new music track. Odd. So yeah, as soon as you cut into Professor Wilkins, Stigma will awaken, so it's a good idea to raise his vitals up to max now. Thankfully, he's relatively close to max, so I don't have to use the syringe like 5 times. And, odd. Theoretically, that shouldn't be able to happen, you know, it's a disease, not like a tiger in there. And why is it always the heart? Does it have to be anything other? And I mean, it is a chronic heart disease. He wasn't even lying to begin with, and...
My God, look at it.
Doctor! They're shooting radioactive beams out of their supercores! Use your zappy gun to stop them! So anyway, this is Stigma. Yes. How do you kill Stigma? You shoot it with your zappy gun. Yep. That's pretty much it. Now, yeah, This is this strain of Stigma is very similar to the first strain of Guilt, Karaoke. However, it's a little bit easier to deal with because Karaoke like to hide under the organ's skin, and you had to use the ultrasound to find them while they were floating around down there. These guys stay in plain sight, so at least you know where they're going on. So you just want to zap them until they die. If you leave them around long enough, they'll start cutting into the patient, which is bad. What I like to do is I like to focus on one when there's two of them out at once. I like to focus on one at a time because in the end that makes the least amount of cuts into the patient, which means the least amount of vitals lost. Obviously, if you're going for a high score, you're going to want to let them cut a little bit more frequently. Also, I should mention that the theme that's playing right now, Stigma Code Blue, is one of my favorite tracks in the entire game. I especially love how they remix part of the Guilt theme into the piano part in the background. I think that's a really nice touch. Anyway, part of the reason that makes this brand of Stigma so annoying is the fact that you're shooting it at your lasers so much, the tool will actually overheat after a certain amount of time, and you won't be able to use it. And since the laser, when you're zapping it with the laser, it won't actually attack the organs. You can, if you had unlimited laser power, you could just keep it from attacking all the time. So something that I like to do is to tap the A button as opposed to holding it down, because you get more time with the laser that way. So that overall you just get more zaps per you get more zaps on it over a longer period of time, which keeps the Stigma from making cuts into it. When it's actually this big form, I don't mind it so much because it's a bigger target and it's easier to hit. Also, it moves slower. I mean, it does 6 cuts as opposed to 1 or 2, but I just find that it's not too big of a deal to deal with this combined Stigma. This is one of the easiest brands of Stigma in the game. Spoiler alert, there's going to be more brands of Stigma later in the game, but that one's not too bad, you know. Obviously, it's the first one, so they didn't want to overstress us too much. But the game will get much harder. Very, very soon. But anyway, yeah, we saved Professor Wilkins from Stigma. Yay. So yeah, yeah, too bad. Nope. So, we'll never see Stigma again. Never. Never, ever. Oh, what am I kidding? I already spoiled to you guys that there's going to be more Stigma operations later in the game. Why am I even trying to hold out on you guys at this point? And, ooh, an A. Hooray.
I'm glad his body withstood the operation. At this rate, it seems he'll make a full recovery.
Yay?
Still,
I mean, he was kind of a dick.
I can't believe that such a disease exists.
Well, you saw it, so you better get on to believing, Elena.
This is the last we see of it, though. I must say, this Stigma is certainly an intriguing disease.
Rosseau. I wonder if you're planning on stealing the research and taking the Stigma name for yourself in order to gain petty popularity and shit. Yeah, totally not gonna happen. Anyway, since Chapter 2 is one of the shortest chapters in the game, I figured I'd forego my usual 2 missions part scheme and just do Chapter 2-5 right now. There's only 5 missions in Chapter 2 for the record.
I'm fully conscious.
The operation was a success. All the pathogens were removed.
Well, actually, we burned them to bits with our zappy gun. I don't actually think we have any samples left, which means we can't study it anymore, but hey, you're not sick, I guess?
Well, Professor, congratulations on the success of your operation.
How did you know he was up? Seriously, it's just like as soon as he gets up, you walk in the door. Were you just like spying out of the window? Do you hate talking to Markus and Valerie that much?
It amazes me each time I watch the recording of the operation.
Recording?
Yes, recording. You know, actually, how often do they record operations? And I mean, how would they record the operation anyway? Would you just stick a camera in front of the open wound? That seems like a very bad idea. And Professor Wilkins, you said you could look through the data. Yeah, that's what I thought when you said you can only look through the data, you know. I figured he meant don't copy it or anything. You didn't say anything about making new data. Actually, you should be grateful. I mean, he gave you a recording of the operation. You can study that later. Ugh, such a moron. Everyone in this game is so stupid. Why? Why do I love it so much, though? you know, getting angry shouldn't make you that out of breath, you know. I mean, obviously you just got out of an operation, but I don't think that simply getting upset would get you so worked up that you need to be left alone for a while. And something tells me that the patient who just underwent an unknown pathogen, who just went through an operation with an unknown pathogen in their body, probably should be looked at a doctor as soon as possible, you know. Just saying. It's for people who are supposed to be smart enough to get through medical school, everyone here seems to be so goddamn dumb. Oh, and here they're bringing up guilt. This scene is pretty much just to say, hey, Stigma totally isn't guilt, right? I mean, we tried this plot once before, but I mean, it's totally different. I mean, I guess that's not what they're trying to go for. I think they're just trying to throw out the notion that we might be seeing some of the Delphi members or the villains from Second Opinion in this game. So, at least they mention Second Opinion. Not that I really miss the game an awful lot, because, to be honest, while it's a good game, it's not an amazing game.
Aren't these Rosseau's patients?
Yes, but he's very busy.
Yes. When I knocked on the door, he was playing with the Rubik's Cube and said, "Oh, I can't operate right now. I gotta finish this."
How long will it take for him to fully recover?
The professor's a lot tougher than he looks.
You know, here I think that they're just reusing voice actors, which, you know, fine, whatever, save your money where you can, Atlas. But could you at least give them names that are better than Dr. 1 and Dr. 2? I mean, it's just like Soldier A, the unsung hero of anime. I'm just like, give them a name. Bob and Joe. I mean, you got Dr. Stereotype here. Give those guys other stereotypes. I mean, I'm sure we haven't offended Latinos and black people yet. Let's offend everyone. Offend-a-thon. Yeah, that's another thing. It's just like, is Professor really all that much more impressive than Doctor? I mean, I know professors, like, at my college, that haven't done enough schooling to become, like, a doctor, to get, like, their doctorate and shit. So I'm just like, you know, talking to some, like, 20-year-old kids at a university that probably aren't paying attention doesn't really make you all that special. Oh. Oh no, the hospital's on fire. Hopefully... Oh. Oh god. Oh god, no. The flashbacks. The flashbacks. The flashbacks. So anyway, guess who's on fire? If you guessed Rosseau, you're right. If you guessed anyone else, why would you guess anyone else? I mean, look at the fucking hair and the glasses. Anyway, I'm sorry if I get a little bit emotional during this part, but this operation is the operation that has scarred many, many players of this game. It is quite possibly the worst operation in the game. At least we get it out of the way, and it's not awful, but it's annoying, and it's redundant, and it's not fun, and I never look forward to doing it whenever I play the game. It's... Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the skin grafting operation. Dun dun dun. This is the operation that made me... This is the first... I mean, up to this point we've had operations that are mostly easy, you know, tutorial stuff. Stuff that we'll be dealing with the rest of the game. This is one of the first examples of sort of a specialty operation where we'll be doing something just once and never touching it again. So, yeah. But this is the first operation that is really hard. And I mean, like, really, really, really hard. This operation caused me to throw my controller against the wall. But then it hit me because I was wearing the wrist strap and it sort of just smacked back at me. But the point still stands. This mission is fucking frustrating. And I never look forward to doing it. But, here we go. Okay, so anyway, on the right side of the screen we've got our burnt skin, which, you know, not good. It's burnt, so we gotta deal with that. On the left side of the screen we've got our good skin. What the point of the operation is to take the good skin from the left side and put it onto the burnt spots on the right side. Seems relatively simple, you know what I mean? But anyway, what you need to do, first off, take the yellow vial and put four pieces of put it into four little squares on the left side of the screen. Then you need to use the scalpel to get rid of all of the dots, not just one. Get rid of all of the dots. Then look at the right of the screen. You see all of those little circle-like things? You know, some are black, some are sort of this tannish color. The tannish are normal burns. Those can be treated by putting 4 of those little squares on top of it. The thing is that will happen. Blood pools will form whenever you don't want them, and then knock all of the pads you have on right off. It is so fucking frustrating trying to do this, because you try to put on 4 burns. You try to put on 4 pieces of skin onto each burn. You do that, and then as soon as you're about to put on the 4th one, you the blood pool fucking forms, and then you can't do any, and then you can't, all of them fall off. You have to start all over. This is the first mission I died to because I ran out of time. The time limit is never ever a problem in Trauma Center, except for these missions. You really have to take your time. You have to go way too slow if you wanna get through this safely. I'm playing fast because I've done this operation a lot of. See, just like that. And the thing is that if you have one piece of skin in your hand, you can't put it down. You have to put it somewhere, you know? So if all of the burns available are covered in blood, you're going to have to take the damage. It's, this mission is so fucking frustrating. And then you've got the 3rd degree burns, where, you have to inject coolant into that, and then you gotta cut off the 3rd degree burn, and then it'll become a normal burn. I don't think that's how it works in real life, but whatever. But yeah, this mission, very frustrating. Sometime you'll get lucky and it'll be like that, but other times it won't be. Now, I don't remember if it's this game or Under the Knife 2 that did this, but in either this game or Under the Knife 2, if you let the blood sit on the burn wounds for too long, the burn wounds will actually become 3rd degree wounds. So it's just like if you leave the blood on to suck it all off all at once and then put the skin graft on, the wound might become 3rd degree burns. If you try to suck the blood up as you're doing it, you're probably just going to waste time and have the time run out. And if you wait too long to suck the blood anyway, the blood will just appear when you put on the skin, and then all of it will fall off, and you'll just have to start all over again. This mission is ridiculous. Thankfully, there are only 2 instances of skin grafting in this game, but in Under the Knife 2, there's I think there's 4. I'm pretty sure there's at least 3. I remember 4. But this mission is a nightmare. Well, okay, I'm exaggerating a bit. This mission is not nearly as bad as like an actual bad game like Shadow the Hedgehog or something. This is playable. It's frustrating, but it's playable. It's just, you've got such a great game with such unique and interesting and fun operations, and then you get to this, and it's just like, you've got all of these you've got all this stuff that you could do, you know, for a burn operation, and then you're just skin grafting. It's really fucking boring. You're not doing anything. You're using the syringe and the scalpel for this. It's just like 2 of the more boring weapons because it's just your sort of point and click sort of bullshit. You don't have to. There's very little strategy to this other than being patient and putting the skin on at the right time. This mission isn't fun, and it's really just a blemish on the entire game as a whole. I mean, granted, if this is the worst operation in the game, that's saying something good for the quality of the game as a whole. But it's just such a frustrating mission, and I bet it's the point where it's not a point in the game that I look forward to playing.
Fortunately, no one seems to have been inside, but the professor's whereabouts are unknown. And we have reason to believe,
or it could have just burned up with everything else. You know, you can't really assume that it was taken. I mean, nobody theoretically should even know about Stigma because Professor Wilkins kept it obnoxiously undercover.
You know, the usual. Oh, they also asked about the professor's condition.
Our heroes lying to the police.
Wouldn't understand anyway.
I can't believe he was kidnapped. What's their motive?
Or they could just want a ransom. I mean, doctors get paid quite a lot of money, so they're like, yo, dude, we want $5 bajillion for your doctor and shit, and we'd probably be able to pay them. You know? It's just like, it seems like you guys are sort of jumping to conclusions here.
There's someone here to see you.
Yeah, our heroes, ladies and gentlemen, ignoring the police. Oh, and Caduceus wants to talk to us.
Long time no see. Regarding what happened the other day.
Because I totally look sympathetic, as this piece of artwork shows. Yeah, that's another thing that bugs me. There's a very, very limited amount of artwork where you don't really get a good sense of their emotions other than angry, annoyed, sad, happy. There's very little subtlety.
You're recruiting us?
That was the plan.
Yeah, I realized how shitty you did on that skin grafting mission, so we don't want you anymore.
Dr. Vaughn, Dr. Blaylock, by the authority of the federal government, I hereby order your...
You know, that's another thing. It's just like, she orders them to come to Caduceus, and I'm just like, you know, you would have offered them the chance to work at a high-end medical institution for a lot more pay and with the respect that comes with being considered one of the best doctors in the world. Pretty sure they'd take the job, you know? I mean, Marcus has no reason to stay, because he already treated Professor Wilkins, assuming that he didn't leave. But, whatever. Anyway, next time, we're going to Caduceus. I'm ExandShadow, and I'll see you guys later.